Okie dokie, share the screen. Actually, let's come off. Two ticks. Okay, guys, thank you so much for spending your Wednesday evening here together in community. It's really, really grateful to all of you, and thank you for showing up to this very first Dreamweave campfire. Explain a little bit about what the Dreamweave Campfire is and Dreamweaver as well. So, Dreamweaver is a movement and community that I'm currently in the process of creating, well, launching, and this is the first launch of it today. And it's basically a movement to help people move towards finding, living, creating, and embodying their dreams. So it's a it's a big topic because there are so many things that can potentially block our dreams and get in the way. We've got all of the internal stuff, so things like limiting self beliefs, self doubt, sabotage, the shadow that gets in our way, as well as the external factors as well, such as not having the right kind of support around you, or the financial resources. So there's a lot that goes into the process of dream weaving. So this is the next phase of my life is dedicated to the study of this. And thought I'd kick off with pain because pain is such a huge blocking factor towards us creating our dreams in life, as we'll go through throughout this presentation. So yeah, thank you for being here, guys. This is like really big day for me, and yeah, I really hope this presentation is going to be really useful for you. This is also going to be very interactive. I love your little ones here as well, bro. Hello. So yeah, hi. So this is going to be an interactive presentation. So at certain points, I'm going to be inviting you into the chat. I know a few of you are familiar with Zoom, but if you're not familiar with Zoom, there's a chat box or a chat button at the bottom. And if you click that, that'll open up a chat and you can type answers into the chat. Yeah, let's do it, guys. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, let's get that. Okie dokie. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can see the presentation? Yeah. Okay. Bueno, bueno. All right. First Dreamweave Campfire: transforming pain into purpose. Let's go. So I'll start off with a little bit about my story. So this is me with my little brother on site many years ago. I used to be a mechanical engineer, working to commission buildings, and loved the aspect of the job in terms of the mechanistic, how to work things out and how to fix problems. But something within me, it was killing my soul, and especially like the last job I did, like completely killed me off, because I think I was meant for more, I wanted more, and I'd never felt like I was helping people in that role. But it gave me a lot of understanding of how things work, in terms of mechanics, which directly translates into what I then did later. But yeah, in my early 20s, I went quite deep into a crisis within my mental health. I had some very, very difficult life circumstances happen, which culminated in me having a complete mental breakdown. 3 months off work, couldn't do very much, and very much had to pick the pieces of my life up and piece them back together bit by bit. And I was living my nightmare, which we're going to talk about the nightmare a lot in this presentation as a key concept, and very much in my nightmare. But from that place, I was able to create some different things, and for me, it was getting into health and fitness that saved me. I was able to get out of certain unhealthy environments and unhealthy ways of being through exercise. I kind of replaced going to the pub or going to the gym on a Friday night, and trained myself out of it, and raised a lot of money for charity, which helped. That purpose helped me to ultimately recover from the mental health challenges that I was having. So did a half marathon, did a few obstacle course races, which then led to me completing the Ironman triathlon in Switzerland. Still one of the best days of my life. That photo is like this euphoric just before I was about to hit the finish line. And again, this was a massive part of my healing journey, getting into this, and gave me a lot of purpose. And this purpose is what carried me through and out of the nightmare that I was living at the time. I then went, okay, what next? And ended up cycling through Mexico, which was just phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal. And actually, next year, my plan is to cycle from Alaska to Argentina as part of this the Dreamweaver project, to bring awareness to living our dreams and what can come from that. And this is me on Christmas Day in Mexico. Loving life. I had a great time. Highly love Mexico, highly recommend it. All of Latin America's beautiful place, beautiful people. But again, I encountered a new nightmare. So I cycled all the way through Mexico, got around to about Guatemala, and then problems started cropping up in my body. And I didn't know much about exercise science at this point, just what I'd been doing within endurance sport. And I was rolling with some pretty heavy imbalances within my body. My hips were completely out, and I was getting a knee problem, which when you're trying to cycle, miles and miles each day is no good. So unfortunately, I had to cut the trip short and go back to the UK. And it was at that time whereby I decided I didn't want to be an engineer anymore. So I retrained in rehabilitation and sports science, program design, and holistic health coaching at the Czech Institute. And learned the science of rehabilitation through exercise. And this is a few pictures of me back in my more clinical days when I had slightly less hair. And what got me into that was a desire to help people, but also I was like, man, my hip. I need to fix my hip, man. Like, this is no good. I want to do more cool shit. So this led me on a very, very deep healing journey and a learning journey. And really, it took so many years to get my hip to a better place because there was a lot more to it than the physical. So I was finding that actually the hip, a lot of it was based in the past trauma that I'd experienced, and the hip wasn't firing and switching on because there was essentially trauma and trapped and stored emotion that was blocking the hip from working properly. And it was super frustrating because I'd been training people with exercise for years, and I was seeing people strengthen this muscle and get better within 4 to 6 weeks, whereas I was trying everything I could, but nothing was working. But it led me on this very deep journey of learning lots more about the physical body, learning about the trauma that I was carrying, learning about the patterns I was rolling with, learning about how I was living life in this just go, do way. And also it led me into a deep investigation of my own internalization of my masculine energy, which also went into it, as well as connections with my dad. And it has taught me so much. So this is one of the themes of tonight as well, in terms of how our pain can teach us. Which led me to then helping people within my therapeutic business, Phoenix Coaching, which is what I do now. Okay, so part 1, the pain teacher. So, pain, the nightmare of pain. Now, for the purposes of this presentation, I mean, I'm not just talking about physical pain, albeit all of you have some physical pain. I'm not just talking about the physical here. I'm also talking about mental pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain, existential pain, relational pain, stress. Like many of the concepts I'm going to share go across the board. We're talking broadly about pain. The presentation does focus slightly more on the physical, but please do have in the back of your mind that we're talking about all aspects of pain here. But yeah, generally speaking, if we're in pain, we're living a nightmare to some degree. And the nightmare and the dream are antagonistic to each other, but connected. So pain impacts our energy. It actively steals our energy, and interestingly steals our nutrients as well. Like the body will consume like up to 20 times more vitamin C if we're in pain. Little tidbit there. It can take our hope. So I've worked with many clients who have given up hope or nearly given up hope, and there's so much that can be done for pain, but we give up hope because it starts to become part of our identity. part of the story that we live our lives by. It becomes a part of us, which affects our confidence. We're not able to do the things that we used to do to the capacity we used to. It takes away possibility. You know, I've had many people who, you know, maybe used to like hiking but can't hike anymore. Pain impacts our dreams and ultimately our quality and experience of life. Now, just a few common pain myths I just want to bust, because our belief systems are something that massively holds us back from our ability to heal a lot of the time. So, here are some common belief systems that I've heard over the years from people that I want to challenge. So, pain is inevitable as I get older. Now, I had one client with this belief system, and because he believed that it was inevitable as he got older, he thought, well, what's the point in doing my stretching, my exercise, and following the nutrition, because I'm just going to be in pain. And he was not doing the very things that would keep him out of pain due to that belief system. Pain equals damage? Not necessarily. Pain is a signal from the body, which could indicate damage, but not always. And a lot of the time, it's not actually related to a structure being damaged, because with pain tends to come a lot of fear. And whilst, you know, we want to be cautious around things, we want to be mindful. The amount of fear that people carry around the pain that they have often isn't proportionate to the severity of the pain. It's not to say that, you know, there isn't damage sometimes, but yeah, I just want to challenge that. Rest fixes pain. It definitely helps pain, but often we need to engage with our pain in order to bring it to a space of healing. So rest is definitely an important component, but often we need to help it along. Rest won't always do all of the job. Painkillers fix pain. Now, I'm not against painkillers, but they can cause problems if the pain is trying to give us a signal to stop doing something or do something different. Because the painkillers then allow us to keep doing what we were doing, which will often actually make the pain worse. And there are many other problems with painkillers that I'm sure you guys are aware of to some degree. Scans tell the whole story. Now, scans are great. We like scans. We love scans. It can show us a snapshot, but that's really all it is. It's a snapshot. We need to be thinking wider than the scan, like looking at what's our story. How are we moving? How is our diet? Are we resting? Are we drinking enough water? Are we potentially still carrying trauma from the past? So the scan is just one part of the story. We need to treat the area. Now, often the place where the pain comes up is actually not where the site of the problem lies. So the problem is often coming from elsewhere. And the pain is often showing up in the weakest link in the chain. And finally, a magic bullet will fix all of my problems. Now, unfortunately, we're in this magic bullet quick fix society whereby we believe that if we have the pill, then I'm just going to put someone on mute there. Hang on. Okay, cool. So yeah, the magic bullet is if I take this pill, or if I do this one stretch, or if I do this thing, it's going to completely get rid of the pain. Unfortunately, as good as that would be, it's often not the case, and we need to engage with our pain. We need to engage with what's happening actively in order to bring it to a space of wellness, wholeness, and rehabilitation. Hi, Kiri, welcome. Thanks for coming along. Okay, so I want to put it to you guys now. For those of you that are new, we can we're going to go into a little bit of a chat. So if you can find your chat boxes, and I want to pose you the question that if pain wasn't limiting you or me, what would I be doing more of? So yeah, feel free to pop it in the chat, whatever comes to mind. Surfing, Nadia. Hit, yeah, man. Movement, yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Walking and sitting cross-legged, yeah, yeah, movement too, yeah, yeah. Yeah, how would it make you guys feel if you were to do more of these things? Because often we're looking at physical things, but also it's like we're looking at the feeling that comes with these things. So like Jordan, if you're able to bust a nut in a hit class, how are you going to feel? Yeah, more alive. Do, do, do. Anyone else? More confident, yeah. More self-empowerment, yeah. Okay, cool, guys. So yeah, if you remember this, and then this will have a bearing on a little bit later. So unless someone else has got something, we'll move on. Okay, cool. All right. So the pain teacher. Now, pain is a good teacher. He looks like a nice guy. This guy. And we've got a little quote here. So we are taught to view pain as an enemy, not a teacher. But pain is the right hand of growth and transformation. Pain is in the history of all human wisdom. So I want to introduce the concept of pain as a teacher, and whenever it's shown up that there's potentially something that it wants to show us, or something that needs to be learned or wants to be learned, because we can potentially roll with the understanding or the axiom that that pain is only there because there's some reason for it that we need to discover. And perhaps actually the pain is there as a very necessary tool for our conscious growth and evolution, which I believe is the real underlying purpose of the pain, is to help us evolve. So in this way, the pain is our teacher, and the pain can be seen as a friend, and like this nice guy. But unfortunately, the pain often, instead of this dude, often shows up as this kind of teacher. And which is unfortunate because she's freaking gnarly. And our pain can be very, very gnarly sometimes as well. And we'll dive into a little bit more of why. So now, relating with our pain. Now, we have been trained on a societal level into avoidance of our pain. This is the way of thinking of most of our world, and there are many reasons for that we could dig into. You may be aware of some of them. So we are in a space of avoidance now. Pain is something to be avoided at all costs. I need to get rid of it as soon as possible. I need to numb it. I need to take it away, or I need to fight the pain. And then you go into war with your own body, essentially. And this is where, the fighting, like I don't agree with like fighting cancer or the war on cancer, because in terms of this way of thinking, because when we engage in a fight or a war with something within us, we're going to create more of an internal space of stress and fight or flight conditions, which involves cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And a body that's flooded with cortisol is a really great breeding ground for all manners of disease. So when we're trying to fight a disease, it's super backward, because we want to actually go the other way. We want to look at harmonizing the body. What do I do to bring the body into balance? Understanding that maybe even this disease is here to actually in some way teach me something. And in some way, which isn't always easy to see, maybe this is here to help me in some way. Even something like cancer. I mean, one of my mentors who runs a health institute, he's said to people before when they come to him with cancer, like, congratulations, this is the time where you get to make the changes that are going to bring you towards living the life that you want. So neurosis is the natural byproduct of pain avoidance. So we can't really avoid the pain, because if we avoid the pain, then what do we get? This is just more pain. It's like that. So yeah, knock knock. Who is there? Our pain teacher. So this is how it usually goes. Not always, but usually. So pain teacher comes along, there's something that we need to address perhaps, and this is why the pain is here. This lovely gentleman knocks on the door, maybe with a little bit of a shoulder niggle, or like a cough, or an illness, or some digestive health issues, and goes, "Hey, buddy, there's something that maybe you can benefit from having a look at here. Yeah, how do you feel about that? Are you going to do that?" And you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, next week. Yeah, no sweat. I'll sort it out. Okay, cool. He's like, all right, cool. And then most people don't do anything about it. So then pain teacher comes back, a little bit gnarlier, knocks a bit harder, and then you get this dude on your doorstep, and he's bringing some worse pain for you, and it's getting worse, and he's looking at you. He's just like, come on, bro, I we've had this conversation and you haven't changed anything. What's going on? And you're like, oh, I know, yeah, I was going to do it, but life got in the way. Yeah, tomorrow I'll do it. Yeah, I'll look at it. It's like, okay, tomorrow comes and change doesn't happen. So pain teacher's like, right, okay, you didn't listen, screw you. Okay, cool, I'm gonna knock the door down and grab you by the hair and throw you towards some railings like we see in Matilda. And unfortunately, this manifests in the relationship breakdown, the disc herniation, the job loss, the loss of friendship, any manner of difficult life circumstances that come when the pain teacher breaks the door down and forces us into a space whereby we have to piece things back together, and sometimes this can be a long rehabilitative journey. And whilst Miss Trunchbull wasn't the best teacher, I still got pain as a good teacher here, because unfortunately sometimes it's necessary for the pain teacher to come in with this kind of drastic lesson if we're not listening. So as human beings, we tend to be reactive rather than proactive. So in my opinion, it's a lot preferable to be proactive when the pain teacher shows up. Okay, I'm being shown something here. Right, what am I being shown? Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes you need to do a little bit more digging. But this is his mechanism. So Buddha famously taught that that suffering is an indicative part of life, and I really agree with this. And you can look at that quote, "Life is suffering," as a negative, but I've always seen this as a positive. And the reason I see this as a positive because it's kind of like, well, we're in this human experience, like it or not, pain is going to happen. This is part of the deal. It's part of the deal of being here. It's inevitable. So within that, knowing it's going to come, knowing it's going to be here, and knowing that I can't always control that, what can I have agency over? And it's how I react to that, and how I move with that, and how I relate with that pain. That's what I have choice over, and I can relate with this in an empowering, proactive way, or I can be reactive and be in the space of being a victim to my pain or our pain. And the pain teacher is asking for balance. This is what this is all about. So all pain in life, society, relationship, anywhere, is down to two things. It's a lack of something's out of balance within the two energies of masculine and feminine, and something's disconnected. So balance and reconnection and healing can occur. So that's balance of all sorts of different things. That's maybe balance in the body, balance within finances, balance within our relationships, and so on. So yeah, so our pain gets our attention. This is the gift of pain. Our pain gets our attention within our life. It shows us where the imbalances are if we choose to listen to it. It invites us into greater awareness, which then leads us to learn and change if we accept that call. Pain develops more resilience. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Deepens compassion. When we know what it's like, this awakens so much compassion for other people going through similar challenges. And this can be the root of so many initiatives that people then go on to help the world in some way or help others in some way to spare them the pain that they've gone through themselves. It transforms our perspective on life. Pain is this necessary alchemical process by which we are fundamentally changed. And change is the great constant of life. It's maybe the only constant of life. And pain is this kind of like locomotor for change. Pain uncovers purpose, can uncover purpose potentially. And pain can also point us towards our dream. And Jung said there is no coming to consciousness without pain. So not only is it a teacher, but one could argue that pain is entirely necessary for our human experience. But the more consciousness and awareness and proactivity we bring to it, the less necessary it is to be present within our lives. Okie dokie. So yeah, pain is ultimately trying to send us towards a space of engaging deeper with life. And it's sending us in this direction as one of its functions. It's part of engaging within life, engaging with life to a deeper degree. Okay, to put it to you guys, so I'd be really interested to ask, has pain ever taught you something valuable? Does anything spring to mind about anything you might have learned from being in pain, or maybe seeing another person in pain? Yeah, if you want to type it in the chat, guys, if you feel it. This is an invitation, by the way. You don't have to type in if you don't feel it as well. A lot of lessons learned through pain. Slow down and take it easy. Stop pushing myself hard every moment and take some rest. Nice. Empathy. Yeah. Yeah, slowing down and taking it easy. This was a massive learning for me as well. And I seem to like learning things the hard way. So I had to have a number of subsequent lessons. Took a while. I'm there now, thankfully. Change my perspective. Yeah, nice. Tends to do this. Slow down, focus, prioritize. Pain-like mistakes are the greatest teachers I've ever had, absolutely. And welcome to the space, Ryan, as well. Thanks for coming, buddy. Giving me a new direction. That's quite a powerful thread in what you just shared there, Ryan. Like you didn't equate pain with mistakes per se. And it's interesting because like the pain that we experience, we can ask the question: is this a mistake or not? Because there's always the opportunity to learn. Yeah, given a new direction. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, pain very much does this as well. Like I've heard so many stories of some sort of crisis in someone's life that then causes them to see that you know what. This job isn't working for me, or this relationship isn't working for me, or this environment isn't working for me. And you know what? Yeah, I'm done, and I'm going to go on to something that is more aligned with me and works more for me. Okay, great, guys. So let's move on. Okay, part 2, portals of pain. Right. So now, there's a lot I wanted to put in this presentation. I've always got this challenge of going over time. So there is a lot of information in this section. So each one's a portal. We've got 7 portals. Now we have the oracle of AI at our fingertips these days. And whilst there are challenges with AI, I'm going to do a full webinar on AI next year. We can use it for education, which I believe is one of its best applications. So if anything springs to mind with any of these 7 portals, really encourage you to dive a bit deeper, but also feel free to ask me any questions. There will be a WhatsApp group as well dedicated to asking all kinds of questions around health and well-being. So yeah, I really encourage you to take a note as we go along. Okay, so sacred structure. Now the body, oh my god, this human temple body that we have is so beautifully orchestrated and so well put together, and so in its natural state, in harmony with itself, in harmony with nature. And we've got this really beautiful graphic of the Vitruvian man resting perfectly within the flower of life. And this for me is, really speaks to the balance of the body, but also the balance of one's life that creates balance within the body and the psyche. Now, the body and psyche are intimately interlinked, so the body is an expression of the psychological state. So our natural order is balanced, but we live in lives and live in a system that is inherently tends to be quite imbalanced in many ways, which then can create problems within us on the individual level with how we're living our lives and the patterns that we have created, but also from the societal level of all of the unhelpful belief systems and different quirks of our modern life, of which there are many. So we have this challenge of balance, essentially, and anything that's out of balance for too long within the body is going to create pain as its function to send you back to balance. Right, so we're going to start off with the physical. So going to go through some biomechanics, guys. So we have the core as the first portal. Now, deficiencies and problems within the core of the body are the root of most injuries, and especially, I've done this work for a lot of time with hundreds of people, and I see so many pain problems, in the knee, the shoulder, the elbow, rooting back to the core. Now, we have the very, very important muscle here called the transversus abdominis, and you see it wraps all the way from front to back, and it's kind of like a corset, and this is responsible for the stability of the body. What it does is it stabilizes the body, which stabilizes the shoulder and hip, which allows the larger muscles on top to produce force. But what can happen is it very easily gets deconditioned and switched off through things like inactivity, lack of movement, abdominal surgeries, sitting at a desk all the time, digestive health issues will switch it off as well. And what we end up is getting a weakened, deconditioned core. Now, here we have an image of a cannonball on a canoe. Now, if you imagine what would actually happen if you fired a cannonball from a canoe, you're going to rip the boat apart. So this is kind of what's happening when we're putting lots of force through the body with having a deconditioned core. You're going to rip the body apart because the core isn't able to attenuate the force that we're trying to put through the body. And then we get pain to guide us back to potentially we need to actually work our core. And you'd be surprised just through a few well-placed core exercises how much impact this can have on someone's pain. And then we have this pirate ship with these ropes signaling different muscles. And when the muscles are nicely balanced, that spine, the mast, is tensioned nicely and is able to sit within itself. But what happens is we end up imbalanced, and then this puts pressure on the spine, and then we'll get the gift of pain to tell us that something needs addressing within the body. So really helpful metaphor I find for looking at this is seeing the body as a bicycle wheel. So if you see the muscles as spokes, and if you've got some spokes that are tight and others that are loose, you're going to pull that bike rim out of alignment. And the core is like the middle that anchors everything, and the spine is like the rim is like the spine. So that bike rim, you're not going to have very much fun going down the road with that. It's going to be a painful bike to ride and a painful spine to inhibit and have. So we've got the Jenga tower here as well. So, we can see the one on the right is the end game of Jenga, and the one left at the start. So when everything's tensioned nicely, balanced, we're like this. When it's not, we're like this. So if you put a pint of water on top of those Jenga towers, one's going to collapse, one's not. And then this is equivalent to, say, lifting up a heavy load when the biomechanical balance isn't in a good place. You're going to get pain as a way to course correct and perhaps guide you towards working on areas like the spine, areas like the core. So yeah, teacher corrective mechanism of pain. Okay, so next handy metaphor, like so you can see all of these different people. We've got different postural distortions here: forward head, rounded shoulders, forward hips, Achilles off kilter. This woman with her head forward, shoulders out of place. Now we got this guy here. Now, whenever a joint's out of place, what happens is it's kind of like the brakes touching on the wheels of the car, or the brake pads touching on the rim of the brakes. Those brake pads are going to wear through really, really quickly. So this is what's kind of happening with when joints are out of balance. We're getting wear and tear on the joints because they are essentially rubbing on each other, which then the body's going to give us pain to tell us that something's up. So in this case, the posture's out. Okay. Okay. Okay, so Portal 2, the endless web, fascia. So fascia, this is a great... no worries, Ryan. Have a nice evening, mate. Yeah, look forward to it as well, buddy. So fascia is the connective tissue of the body that governs the external structure. So the skeleton is kind of like the fixed internal structure of the body, whereas the fascia is the external dynamic structure of the body. Now, we can kind of think of fascia like this internal morph suit that houses all of the muscles, all of the organs, interweaves through every part of the body, interweaves through absolutely everything. We can see the different layers here. You've got skin, superficial fascia, deep fascia, and then muscle. So yeah, it dictates movement and structure, and you can see it kind of behaves like this morph suit. So if we pull on that morph suit, it's going to create a distortion. And it's the interconnected superhighway of information all the way through the body, as well as a quantum carrier of light and information through the body, and electricity as well. So there's a lot going on with the fascia, and it's a massive player that is now starting to get more acknowledged within the health and fitness and therapeutic world. So here we have some diagrams of some fascial lines. So now, whilst it's all one big morph suit, we found that this morph suit is divided into different lines of fascia that cover different muscles that create functions within the body. So we have a front line here which bends us forward, and these are the chains that link all the muscles together, because our muscles don't work in isolation. You know, it doesn't just do this. It does all kinds of things. Like everything is firing with everything else, but we've learned to think of not only muscles in isolation, but many things in isolation. But really, everything is holistic. Everything works together. Front line bends you forward. Back line extends you back. Spiral lines rotate you. And you've got some side lines, bend you from side to side. This line, functional lines, is all about throwing. Then you've got a deep core line. Now, problems in the body cause distortions all the way through the fascia. So often part of the healing journey from pain is to unwind this fascia and restore it to balance. Balance is always what we're looking for, pretty much always. Next concept, so fascia works on tensegrity. So tensegrity is how a suspension bridge is kept up and structured. So we have a number of wires and structures that attenuate and dissipate force throughout the structure, enabling the bridge to hold itself using a lot less material than other bridges would through physics. It's holding itself through balancing forces, essentially. So this is exactly the same philosophy when it comes to fascia, except fascia is dynamic. Fascia moves around. So the natural state of fascia is to be nice and springy and elastic, and this holds the structure of the body. So when it starts to lose that elasticity, go hard, and encounter problems, the posture starts to go, and pain is around the corner. Again, I'm going to sound like a parrot saying this. Like the pain is there to guide you back to balance and to show you something. In this case, it's like, okay, the tissues need looking after. Fascia issues, so yeah, we get these adhesions in it, which then distort our morph suit. So because it's all interconnected, a few adhesions here in one area doesn't just affect the area, it affects the whole system, the entire system. So we've got healthy fascia here, restricted fascia here, and very restricted fascia here. So You can imagine if your fascia, if your connective tissue all over your body looks like that, the space within your body gets super constricted. All of those tissues are trying to pull on everything else, and you get extremely tight, and the body's going to give you pain as a message that something needs to be looked after. So yeah, and then fascia is responsible, big player in our postural distortions. Again, if the fascia's out, we're going to get the joints rubbing, like with our brake pads. Interestingly, we can see quite prominently these rounded shoulders on both. And with both diagrams, you can also see the core popping out as well, distended abdomen. So this person's got double bubble. They've got fascial problems all over, as well as the core not working, and the core is the bridge. Core's amazing, man. I've seen when people just condition the core alone and maybe a few key stretches, global tightness all over the body decreases. Because what happens when the core's not working correctly and able to stabilize, the joints and the muscles have to stabilize locally rather than globally. And that local stability creates tightness, which then can create pain. So just by training the core, a few stretches, I've seen global tension massively reduced. So, you know, if you're an exercise nut, then, you know, you can plow into exercise and do loads of stuff and it's helpful. But a lot of people, you know, don't have time to do lots of exercise and maybe aren't so into it, and that's completely fine. If you're doing the right kinds of exercises, you can move things in with just a few well-placed stretches and a couple of well-placed exercises. You can make a surprising difference to the body. So signs of fascia dysfunction: chronic pain, reduced range of motion, tension and stiffness. You're going to be tired. Posture's going to be out. If your posture's out, you know the fascia's out. Emotional discomfort. So yeah, there's a very deep connection with the fascia and our emotional world as well. And often the fascia is also storing trauma and storing emotion, which can be creating pain problems. Swelling and inflammation, and yeah, you're not going to be as flexible. Okay, portal 3, which is maladaptive movement and compensation. So this is following on from the fascia conversation, because the fascia is designed to create dynamic movement, and the fascia houses the muscles and links everything together. So as well as having slings of muscles. So basically, the body is a series of collection of springs that transfer and dissipate force as we move. Now, if we start to lose that function, maybe there's a problem with the fascia, maybe there's a problem with the core, maybe there's a problem somewhere else, then what's going to happen is the body's going to start compensating and changing, and the firing patterns are going to start changing. And especially if we're in pain, when you're in pain, the body naturally moves away from pain and starts to compensate. We like compensation. Compensation is good because compensation is often saving us from actually being in more pain. It's a very useful mechanism for the body to do. However, there comes a point whereby the body can only compensate so far. And again, it's going to give you the pain to course correct you and guide you back into the realm of working with the body physically to resolve it. So, and also movement patterns as well is a big one. So if you're not moving correctly, like a big one potentially is like lifting without engaging, bending your knees. This will potentially give you some pain at some point as well. But there's many different ways in which one can move incorrectly. So this is where gym training is great, correct gym training, so that you learn how to move correctly, which then carries over into your life. So we can train for anything in the gym. So we can do sport-specific training or job-specific training. Everyone's an athlete, whether you're a football player or a granny that's still lifting things. Everyone's an athlete. So we need to be prepared for the demands of life through moving our bodies into a space whereby we're able to deal with the challenges of our life around us. Okay, and then one of the most common compensations is compensating to sit at the desk. So anything we do a lot of, the body becomes good at. So if we run a lot, the body improves at running. If we swim, the body gets better at swimming. If we sit in a chair a lot, the body gets better at sitting in a chair. And what it does is muscles on the front are going to get tight. You're going to lose your hamstrings and glutes because the body doesn't need to use them, so it gets rid of them. Use it or lose it. Body's very efficient. If you're not using something, it will get rid of it because it's a waste of energy. Forward head posture, and this eventually is going to give someone back or neck pain most of the time. And if you're hunched forward a lot of the time, not only are you going to get really stiff and the body is not going to get the movement it needs, but you're inviting a disc problem in. So what tends to happen is the gel-like nucleus of the disc starts to make its way out, either to the right or left, sometimes to the middle. If it's in the middle, you're in you're in trouble if it's in the middle, but it doesn't happen a great deal. And what this creates is the back pain or the sciatica, or a similar thing that can happen in the neck, and then you get the RSI down the arm. All manner of things can come from the lack of movement that comes from sitting. So, I've heard the phrase "sitting is the new smoking," and I kind of agree with it, because any stagnation, any lack of movement, at some point is going to bring pain to us, because life is movement, and the body wants us to move and really appreciates us moving. So a number of techniques that you can employ to help the physical: manual therapy, self-massage, stretching and movement, breathing techniques, somatic practices, myofascial release with a foam roller, hot and cold, energy healing, body work. Everything is helpful. Everything is helpful, and I kind of look at it like each person's got a very unique journey, and each modality is a key, and each person I believe has a unique set of locks, and certain modalities are going to work really well for some and not for others. So exercise is a key, psychotherapy is a key, Reiki is a key, ayahuasca is a key. Many keys. All of these are keys. So often people are doing the right things and going in the right direction, but maybe they're not doing the right combination of things together, or they're not doing enough things at once to get over the line. And here we have the 6 foundation principles of health: hydration, nutrition, sleep, movement, thinking, and breathing. 95% of all disease and pain problems in the body come from not getting these principles in a good space, which is massive. 95% of all disease comes from these principles when they're out of balance, with the remaining 5% being hereditary and genetic. So we have a lot of agency and a lot of ability to change our pain. Okay, portal 4, stress. Now, this is a whole presentation in of itself. We're just going to glance the surface. So yeah, if you feel that stress is partly what's going on for you, then again, you can ask questions or go into research of it. But we're going to mainly talk from the biomechanical perspective. Now, stress is driving so much pain, not only in our body, but in our lives in general. Generally, stress is such a massive source of pain for so many people. When we experience stress, cortisol raises, we go into a fight or flight response. And biomechanically, what's going on is we start with the hip flexors. So psoas muscle, acronym, primary storer of all stresses. So the psoas, these are our run away or fight the tiger muscles, kick muscles. So if we're in a chronic stress state, our fight or flight muscles are permanently primed to fire, which over time is going to create loads of tension in them, and that's potentially going to yank on your lower back, because that's where they insert into, or they're going to throw the hips off, and then the hips are going to create a wave of compensation and dysfunction through the body, which will also bring pain. So chronic fight or flight state. Also here we've got the kidneys, where the adrenal glands are. Now if the adrenal glands are going 10 to the 9s all the time, it's going to affect all of the muscles around it. So we've got 2 small but very impactful muscles here called the QLs, quadratus lumborum. So the adrenal glands will cause these guys to get really tight as well and give you the back pain. And then we've got these guys, levator scapulae. Now, these muscles are, most of the time when we're looking at stress-related neck problems, it's down to these guys. So they attach top of the shoulders, go up into the top 4 vertebrae. And we call these the stress buckets because the psyche has a very useful mechanism whereby it, in order to not have a mental breakdown, it will send tension and stress into the muscles. And these guys take a lot of the brunt. So it's a protective measure for the psyche to actually feel tension in the body. So this ends up with us, not having a very nice time when it comes to our neck pain. Okay, so there's a lot more with stress, like so much more, but I think I'm going to do another presentation on that, just that one topic, stress. Okay, Portal 5, stored trauma. Now, many of us have had difficult things that have happened to us in life, and these traumas could have caused us to go through hell at different points, and every person's story is absolutely unique to them, and the way in which trauma is processed, reconciled or not is unique to each person, and therefore how it's stored in the body is also unique to each person. Now, why is it stored in the body? Now, there are many reasons. I'm going to just hone in on one of them mainly. Often when we experience trauma, this is also correlated with an environment which wasn't safe. Now, in order to get through whatever circumstance that a person was going through, it may not have been safe to process or feel their emotions or exhibit their emotions at that time. And the strategy to get through would have been to compartmentalize, repress and suppress the emotion, especially if that environment denigrated emotions, if a person maybe would have been punished for displaying emotions, or also unhelpful ideas like boys don't cry, toughen up, be a man, or it's weak to show emotion. Many of these different beliefs can cause us to send the emotions into the basement, but they don't go away. And what often happens is they come out in sideways ways. So my friend, for instance, he found his mother passed away he found her in her bed. She'd gone, and him and his brothers and sisters, they were left on their own. Essentially, he was like 16. His brother was like a year older, and they had to fight. They had to make their way, and they didn't have the luxury of being able to process their emotions, and also part of the family pattern of what they did was to repress. So didn't grieve, didn't cry, really, and then years later, this repressed emotion, this grief and anger was coming out in sideways ways, with him getting angry at his partner. So the thing is that the emotion doesn't leave, and we have an inkling a lot of the time as to whether there is something stored that potentially wants to be released. Now, very interestingly, through the emotional temperaments that we move into through life, this creates something called emotional holding postures. Now, emotional holding postures are the body is an imprint of the psyche. So due to different emotional states and different temperaments, this causes different postural states. So here we have a guy with his hips tilted forward, and I see this a lot with fighters actually, who are more on the aggressive end of the spectrum, because what they'll do is they'll tip their hips forward to make themselves look bigger, but it's often covering an underlying insecurity. And then you've got like this rounded shoulders, flat pelvis kind of posture, and it's kind of like a protective posture. Now, whenever I see this in session, I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, okay, there's potential history of abuse with this person because of the protective posture. Now, both the hips forward, hollow back, that'll create pain due to compression on the lumbar joints, and the flat back and protective posture will cause pain in the lower back because now the lower back muscles have been pulled long and weak. Military posture, stand up straight, boy. this will cause back pain and rigidity. So, military generally rigid in terms of thinking, not always, but rigidity within the practice of life will create rigidity in the body. So, shared about I can't remember whether I shared it already or whether it was earlier, but I had a perfectionist client who's very, very deep in perfectionism, and she had the tightest inner core systems I've ever seen, which was causing her a lot of pain. She was a former Miss Brazil, so like the having to train for the perfection of the body, and yeah, it was causing her a lot of problems. But the problems in the body were being driven by the state of perfectionism that she was living her life with. And again, if a joint's out of alignment, we're going to get the brake pads creating pain. Really interestingly, these are I think it's Carolyn photography, and this shows the different emotional states of the body, and yeah, what's happening within. Okay, so yeah, emotional holding postures. So we have the power postures, which actually have been found to create biochemical changes in the body. Like we have a boost of testosterone and confidence when we're in the power pose. And then there's this more of this protective posture here. So we're going to do a little exercise, guys. So postural feelings. Now, what I want to invite you into is we're going to kind of go into this collapsed protective posture, kind of head forward, shoulders forward, and move yourself forward into this posture. And I really want you to go kind of feel into how you feel in this posture. Now, I want you to, in this posture, just take a moment, see how you feel. I want you to try and feel good in this posture, like good things. Think of good things that you enjoy and that you like and would usually make you feel happy, and see if they're easy to connect to. Okay. Now feel bad things like anger, rage, jealousy, bad things, and see how that connection is there. Let's not stay there for too long, so shake it off, guys. Shake, shake, shake. Okay, cool. Next, I want you to raise your arms in the air. Woohoo! Maybe the little one wants to give it a try as well. All right. Yeah, yeah, all right. Okay, so guys, in this position, now try and feel the good feelings again. Feel the good feelings and see if it's different in terms of your connection in any way. Maybe, maybe not. Good things, kittens, sunrises, good food, children giggling. Okay, great. Now feel bad. Feel bad things. Jealousy, rage, envy, anger, bad things, bad things. Okay, cool. Give it a little shake off. All right, guys. If you fancy putting it in the chat, or maybe if you wanted to come off mute, any of you, and just yeah, share your experience of that if you feel it. Anyone wants to chat, or feel free to type in the box as well.
Yeah, I'll say something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was really easy to feel terrible when I was hunched over, and as soon as I put my arms up, I felt a smile on my face.
Yeah, nice, cool. Yeah, interesting. It's really interesting, isn't it? And then Jordan, did you want to share as well?
Yeah, whenever I feel myself with crossed arms, especially in a hunched over state like that, there's just a deep sense of disempowerment,
Mm.
lack of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't feel supported in this condition,
Mm-hmm.
so it's hard to externalize any form of support.
Mm.
So no solid ground essentially, just really kind of weak and disempowered.
Yeah.
Um, I I I feel like I kind of often like military pose myself,
Mm-hmm.
maybe too much, but I just know throughout my experiences over the decade of just doing yoga, this is really the posture I like to be in with shoulders back, or this similarly,
Mm.
and it's just such a different um, a sense of empowerment when you feel open, your heart's open, you just feel stronger and more aware, more awake. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, just a massive, massive difference between like sad and closed and then happy, open, and powerful.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, guys. Thanks for sharing. And it's this two-way street between the body and the psyche. So you don't feel supported emotionally because the body isn't supported. Two-way street. And after you say do a workout and train the core, because the core is bridging everything, you suddenly feel more solid and together. So you have a different outlook, make different decisions from a more empowered place. And we can get the body to a place whereby the biomechanical balance is just so that nothing really gets that tight. I mean, we still need to maintain it. But yeah, when we're in this kind of like neutral posture, we feel good because we're open. And then, if we also, if we delved into the energetic centers, you spoke about the heart, often with grief, the shoulders are coming forward to protect the heart. And really interestingly, my friend, she actually had a left shoulder problem. She had some difficulty in breakups and relationships, and her left shoulder was coming forward literally to protect her heart. This is like very, very interesting. So yeah, cool guys. Now if your posture's out, you're going to be in these emotional states all the time. So the body is facilitating the emotional state, and then the emotional state is facilitating the body. So I see a really, really interesting pattern in people who have done a lot of self-work on themselves, like maybe like therapy or personal development or spiritual development, and they haven't done body work, work on the body, is that they've done the emotional work, but they haven't quite got all the way because the body's still keeping them back in that place. And what tends to happen is we open the body and boom, it all stays there because they've already done the underlying emotional work that got them into the emotional holding posture in the first place. So again, it's often a two-way street. We're working with the body, but we're also looking into, right, what's created this posture? What is this? It could be something as simple as a core switched off, or it could be something deeper, like an emotional temperament or some emotion hasn't been processed. So nice one, guys. Okay, portal 6 of 7. All right, so organs, digestive health, and lifestyle choices. Now, this is a massive one as well, so we're just going to go top level. And we're back to our core muscle, this really important muscle that holds the body together. And we've got a picture of lots of foods which might taste good but might not give us the best experience on the toilet. And might create inflammation and problems in the digestive area. Now, there's a very strong connection often between our digestive health and pain. Now, a lot of people, when they eat something that they're intolerant to, they find that, my back pain gets much worse. The reason for this is because the nerves, you can see this guy here, he's got nerves coming out of the spine. Now, those nerves feed and innervate the core muscles as well as the digestive organs. So if the brain perceives that your intestines are inflamed, the last thing it wants is a deep abdominal wall, this guy, that holds everything together, pushing down on it. So the brain will actually shut down the muscle, and that very muscle that's protecting and supporting the back no longer doing its job. So you get the more back pain because of something you ate. And there's also other things involved, like parasites is a big one, general inflammation in the body. And you can kind of see from this picture on the right here, you can see the inflamed core, the switched off core, versus the toned core. So you lose this bridge, you lose this protection of the core when you're eating things that you don't agree with. This is pretty juicy. So this is viscerosomatic reflexes. So another way in which we can experience pain. So basically, like if we felt pain in the actual organs, that would be very debilitating and devastating. So what happens is the body's got this clever mechanism whereby instead of feeling the pain in the organ, it sends the pain into the muscles. So the common one that people generally know about is when you're having a heart attack, you get shooting pains down the left arm. So this is a viscerosomatic reflex. But all the other organs also have reflexes as well. So we can see the kidneys can potentially create pain in this quite large area all around here. Pancreas is down here, stomach is here, and lung and diaphragm. This isn't actually fully correct because actually the liver also reflexes with the right shoulder and the stomach also reflexes with the left shoulder. Now, I actually had a guy a few years ago whereby his shoulder problem, and I dialed it back to actually a liver problem because he'd basically been drinking 5 beers a night for like 25 years, and his liver was not too happy with him, and that's what was creating his shoulder. And he didn't really like what I had to share with him because it would involve like cutting down drinking, and he wasn't willing to do that. And we stopped working together. Then he came back a little while later. He'd been around loads of different therapists and hadn't got anywhere. I was like, well, it's not because of the shoulder. You can do all the manual therapy you want, but the problems come from the liver because the liver's not happy because of drinking. Then you're never going to fix the problem with stretching and massage and all the other things that he was trying. So that can be an interesting one. Now, abdominal cramps is another one. Obviously, that's quite an obvious one. And women around the time of the monthly cycle as well is obviously the other really big viscerosomatic reflex that we can often identify with. So yeah, you can see here as well, like this a set of healthy organs versus a set of organs that have seen better days. All right. Okie dokie. So healing. We're looking at an integrative, holistic approach for healing just about any aspect of the body, any problem. So again, we're back to 6 foundation principles of hydration, nutrition, sleep, movement, thinking, and breathing, and balancing oneself. Balance is the key, always. Homeostasis. The body's always trying to seek homeostasis, which is another word for balance. It's always trying to do that. It's very good at doing that, but the things we get in the way of that through how we're living and the choices that we're making. Okay, probably my favorite portal of pain. Shadow psychology. This stuff is juicy. Now, I will be doing a full webinar on this in Scorpio season sometime in November. But yeah, this is the understanding of how our shadow, the repressed aspects of our psyche, are influencing our pain. Okay, on the left we have an absolute badass, Carl Jung, the grandfather of modern psychology, psychotherapy. Just amazing guy, just deep mystic, whilst at the same time being just the most dialed, dialed psychotherapist who was about. He was colleague of Freud's, and they fell out on a bunch of different things. But time has shown that Carl Jung was actually very correct on many things. So if you guys want a great podcast recommendation, I can recommend This Jungian Life. This Jungian Life, which is 3 Jungian psychotherapists discussing the topic of the day and then doing a dream analysis at the end. It's phenomenal. So this is one of the maps of the psyche. So the totality of self, all that we are, is contained within these different aspects of self. Now, we've got the persona on the edge. So these are the masks that we wear and employ within our life in order to navigate through life. Not bad necessarily, although we can get over-identified with the persona, and you see this in like influencer culture. A phenomenal film about the over-identification with the persona is The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. That is all about over-identification with this persona and the pain that comes with that. And we got the ego, our sense of self. Not good or bad. It can be inflated or deflated, which can create negativity, but we're looking for the healthy, balanced ego. We all have it. Again, it's essential for the function of our psyche. And then we've got some other aspects, but we're really concerned with the shadow here. Now, the shadow are the parts of us that we repress, we deny, we suppress, and we disown. So the parts of us that we don't like, in other words, and the parts of us that often aren't integrated. Massive part of healing. when it comes to the psyche, and a big part of Jung's MO was bringing the darkness into light and into consciousness, acknowledging the shadow, integrating the shadow, and through that process, coming into deeper levels of integration, self-acceptance, love, and power. And we liberate the shadow, we integrate the shadow, and we experience the power that comes from that. And we move closer to our authentic self. Anima and animus, we will talk about in the workshop in November, because I don't want to open that can of worms now, but it's very fascinating. So yeah, definitely come along for that in November. Okay, so now shadow, very deep topic. We can talk about a lot, but for the purpose of this presentation, we're going to talk about shadow pain payoffs. All right, so the ego and the shadow, these different parts of our psyche are often at odds. They often have different agendas. So the ego's agenda is generally rooted in experience of all of the good things of life. So the ego wants the sunset, it wants the nice food, it wants the cuddles, it wants everything to be hunky-dory and sweet. Whereas the shadow wants those things, but the shadow also wants everything. Part of the shadow's prerogative is to experience the full spectrum of what it is to be a human being, which includes the suffering, the pain, the guilt, the shame, the grief. The shadow in some way wants these things. And in a way, the shadow can unconsciously create negative circumstances within our life. Again, this is massive, but I'm just going to focus in on the pain part of things. So now the shadow can prevent us from moving out of pain, because sometimes the payoff of being in pain is actually greater than actually getting out of the pain, which sounds weird to the conscious mind, but when you understand that part of the shadow is also rooted in trying to keep us safe, and in strange ways, getting out of pain could be correlated with a lack of safety because of what that might mean for the person. It's very unique for each person. So here's some examples. So the shadow will keep us in pain because pain is safe, especially if it's become a part of our identity that's been lived for many years. The shadow will prevent us from getting out of pain through because it doesn't like change. Ego doesn't like change very much either. And it might do this through like sabotaging behaviors or a whole range of different ways in which it can prevent this. Avoiding vulnerability, avoiding failure, avoiding success as well. You know, someone might be doing really well in their business, and then the shadow will sabotage it. They'll do something to sabotage it because the shadow is scared of what may happen, or the psyche is concerned about what may happen to our identity if we achieve these things. Receiving love, care, or attention, so sabotaging relationships. Staying in our comfort zone, even when that comfort zone is painful. Holding on to a familiar identity. Staying loyal to family patterns. This is a big one. You know, my great-granddad drank, my granddad drank, my dad drank, so therefore I drink, and get shoulder pain because of that. So yeah, loyalty to family patterns. Avoiding responsibility. So this is an interesting one actually, because like you hear a lot of like athletes just before like the final or the semi-finals, big match, big things on the line, they get an injury in training the week before somehow. It happens a lot, and and this goes more into sports psychology, because what often is the case is that the player doesn't want the responsibility of potentially losing the game, so they'll unconsciously create an injury in order to not be in the game and not have that risk of having, you know, millions of fans like hating on them, which I can understand that. But at the same time, you know, we have all of these different shadow motivate or shadow payoffs and shadow agendas, and a big part of our healing journey is bringing the shadow to light and avoid stepping into our potential. So Jung also said people have a hard time letting go of their suffering. Out of fear of the unknown, they prefer suffering that is familiar. Okie dokie, so I've chatted quite a lot there, guys. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Which portals do you either feel most drawn to explore, or where you feel challenged? which portal. So yeah, pop a number in there, guys. All of them. Oh, my man. Shows you're quite conscious, because generally speaking, we all have a touch of all of them. Yeah. Anyone else? If you feel like not answering as well, it's completely fine as well. It's not obligated. Drawn to one, the core, organs, and shadow psychology. Yeah, interesting, because like maybe the organs and the core is actually interlinked potentially. That's something I would be looking at. And yeah, deeply the shadow. Jordan, I know you got a load of Scorpio. Like, this is part of our path is shadow walking. Like, this is part of it, but it's part of it for everyone. But that sign particularly tends to need it. 5 and 7, stored emotions, shadow psychology. Yeah, I mean, these two also walk hand in hand. All of these portals are portals into each other as well. 4 and 7, stress and shadow. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you. And does anyone feel called to share at all by speaking? If not, we'll move on. Question: where does lymphatic systems fit in? Yeah, great question. Yeah, so lymphatic system fits in. So lymphatic system is our body sewage system, and also interweaves with the fascia at certain points. So lymphatic systems primarily pumped through movement, but unlike the heart and circulatory system, which has a pump, although technically the heart isn't a pump, but I don't want to open that right now. But the body needs movement in order to, or the lymphatic system needs movement in order to drain itself. Yes, the lymphatic system can also be a portal to pain. It's not as common as these 7, and yeah, these 7 aren't exhaustive. There are other things outside of it. But yeah, generally to look after our lymphatic system, movement is our best friend. So exercising and movement, it's not just about getting a sweat on and building some muscle. It serves many different important functions in the body, one of them being pumping. So pumping the lymphatic systems, it's the sewage system, so pumping the sewage system so toxins can make their way out through sweat, or number 1, number 2, or breath as well. 4 pathways of detoxification: breath, sweat, number 1, number 2, peeing and pooing. Lymphatic drainage techniques as well can be very, very effective. I mean, like the lymphatic system, when it's backed up, can cause massive amount of swelling as well. Anyone with autoimmune diseases, lymphatic drainage is very important. It's important for everyone, but like certain diseases, because like especially when there's swelling concerned, and a lot of autoimmune diseases, there is a lot of swelling and a lot of water retention as well. Lymphatic drainage is very, very important. Also water, like we need water. The solution for pollution is dilution. So when we're dehydrated, again, like we don't have as much raw, it's not material, but we don't have as much water to flush the crap through the body and out of the body. So yeah, lymphatic system, generally movement is its best friend, because you're going to look after a lot of the lymphatic drainage just through having a regular exercise program. So yeah, it does fit in, and yes, it's not an exhaustive list. If we had every causation of pain, we'd have a list like 100 things long. But yeah, no, it's a big player and something to look after. But yeah, most of the looking after can happen just through general movement. Okie dokie, so moving on. Part 3, our final act of the presentation. So nightmare to dream, pain to purpose. We'll talk about the dream seed. That should be in the middle, but hey. Okay, yeah, the dream seed. Now, when we can work constructively with our nightmares and our pain, understanding that they are there as a catalyst for our growth and transformation, we can sometimes find that within that pain can be the seed for many good things in our life. Now, so many stories, and you can probably relate with this either yourselves or with someone you know, or someone famous, how their pain has led to the purpose of their life that they've then moved into. And we touched on this earlier, whereby we experience a lot of pain, and then this inspires us to help others to not experience that same pain that we've gone through. So within the nightmare, whilst it sucks to be going through that, we can have the seeds of something beautiful, something good, something that brings purpose to our life, which again, maybe the pain teacher is also trying to direct us towards our purpose as well. You know, a really freaky thing is when, you know, someone has some sort of pain problem that stops them getting on a train, and then the train crashes. You know, and it's interesting because this could be a huge coincidence, or something deeper might be at work there. So life is very mysterious. Pain can be very mysterious. This is one of the reasons why I love working in this field, just because, man, even the pain neuroscientists still don't really know like the full kit and caboodle about pain. Like it's not been fully unveiled, because there's a lot to it. So yeah, and just as pain is mysterious, life is very mysterious. So we can never know where this journey is going to take us. We can never know where our pain will take us. We can never know what might be seeded in the moment of our pain. And we're often so in it that we can't see that horizon, that there could possibly be something good that might come of it. But there often is. There often is, especially if we relate with this pain in a proactive way and experience it and regard it as a teacher. So yeah, here's some like famous examples. We've got Frida Kahlo, like immense physical pain through her life. That was the source of the fountain of her beautiful creativity, and she's super inspiring and very inspiring to so many people through what she went through. Mandela, 27 years in prison for standing up for his ideals, and then going on to make landslide positive change in South Africa upon his release. If you guys want a phenomenal film about Nelson Mandela, it's Invictus, Invictus, Invictus. Morgan Freeman plays Nelson Mandela, and it's all about rugby, but it's all about the tensions going on in South Africa at that time, and what he was able to do in terms of unifying the country through rugby. Phenomenal film. Malala used to, I never get her second name right, but this woman she stood up to the Taliban many years ago, and at 15 she got shot in the head. She survived, and then went on with the pain, miraculously survived, and then went on to continue to oppose the Taliban and created an incredibly inspiring movement that created a lot of change. Jung, through his life, the pain that he experienced yielded this incredible body of work, some of which we touched on tonight. And my favourite example, Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream. It was this speech that still is reverberating through the sands of time, and his vision is still strong, still so strong, and there's a lot more work to go. But you know, the spokesperson for the incredible pain of black people in the US and all over the world. Amazing astrology with this guy, actually. Sun in Capricorn, Moon in Pisces, and like the Pisces is the dream. The Capricorn is like the status and the work to put that dream into action, and he had those two things unified, which is very interesting. Okay, and then many people through the pain that they witness in their lives go on to help others, or through the pain of nature go on to help our environment, and many different purposes can come from the pain that we experience. This is for another time, because it's too big to do it justice. It's talking about the myth and the stories that we live in our lives, but that's going to be another presentation. Okay, so the nightmare and pain shows you what you don't want, and from there you can find out what you do want and begin to create a new myth or story to live by. Your dream is the bridge. So this is Dreamweaver. This is what it's all about. You're going to hear me talk a lot about our dreams, because the dream, this is our our organizing principle, one of the organizing principles, a North Star for living our life that engages us with life and engages us with love and brings love into our life and inspiration. Now, any change process, any pain process, the first thing we do is establish the dream, because without a working dream, like often need to make changes in order to heal, and change can be difficult, especially when we've got all these things like shadow motivations and the hard work of exercising sometimes and creating time. It can be a tough gig. So if we don't have a compelling dream, change often isn't very sustainable. So establishing our dream is so important. And when we have a big enough dream, you don't need a crisis. So an organizing principle for our lives, and definitely on our healing journeys. So you guys know I'm going to be asking about your dreams in a sec, but to give you guys some different examples. So dreams might look like to live free from pain and full of energy, play with my kids or grandkids, find love, deepen my relationships, to travel, meaningful work that I love, feel happy, peaceful, truly alive, become the healthiest version of myself, to overcome fear, live with confidence, create a positive legacy, wake up excited about life every day. So there's some examples for you. So I'd be really, really interested to hear from you guys what your dreams are. If you want to pop it in the chat, or maybe we'll unmute as well if someone's up for that. And also, if you don't have a dream as well at the moment, that's completely fine. That's literally what this project is for, or part of what this project is for, is to help people find their dreams. So yeah, if anyone's got something they're working towards at the moment, feel free to pop it in, or you can jump on and chat.
Well, like all dreams, they're kind of complicated and mysterious.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
not really it's kind of hard to put a definitive finger on it, but I would say that my biggest dream is to be as wholly embodied in this existence, in this time, to be able to facilitate the vision that the Most High has given to myself and my wife for what we're to build, for what is to be our mission, and our legacy that we leave, um, for our children and for our community. So I think the core of it for me is to be so grounded and embodied. Like this is the core of my dream, is to be so grounded and embodied that I have this clean, fluid vessel for this vision to come through.
Mm. Beautiful, man. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, it's interesting because really seeing with this study that like living with a dream is one avenue to come closer to God and Goddess, for sure. And it's interesting. I'm reading a book called Way of the Heart at the moment, and it's channeled messages from Jesus, and he's talking about desire as being coming to us for very specific reasons, and we follow this desire, and this is the pathway towards knowing God, knowing our Creator, however that looks for each person. And it's really interesting because I'm like, oh man, this is synonymous with our dreams. The dreams are born of desire, so maybe actually the dream is this way in which we can move closer to the spirit and closer to the connection with ourselves. So yeah, man. Dan, yeah, to be pain free enough to be more physical. I love that, mate. Yeah, I love that. I guess I'd go further to ask, like, what does being more physical look like for you? If you're happy to answer. Okay, cool. We'll come back if you want to type. Okay, cool, guys. So, sorry, I just saw we've gone a little bit over time, but we're at the end anyway. So, yeah, all right, just to wrap up. Okay, so to be life beyond pain, we have all of these very, very good qualities, these very good things. But ultimately, you come to see that it's freedom to pursue your dreams. Love seeing waterfalls, but a challenge to do anymore. Oh, mate, I feel for you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, let's see what we can do for you, mate. Let's see what we can do for you. Kiri, this is a tough question to narrow down. To own a home so I can have a place of stability and create a beautiful space for my wife and our friends and family. I want to share what I have to help others in their journeys as well. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it is a tricky question. I love asking people this question because it's a proper head scratcher. What is your dream? You know, what is your dream? And it's not always an easy question to answer, like for sure. And Dan, yeah, Costa Rica has so many things I want to see. Yeah, feel you, mate. Feel you. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, hopefully this presentation has given you some knowledge and tools to really get you started on that journey, mate. Really. We're going to link up as well. So yeah, so we've got two paths when it comes to our pain. Now we can live the comfortable nightmare, which basically involves ignoring the pain, avoiding it, fighting it, trying to quick fix it, eventually numb it. Eventually, we're going to identify with it. It becomes part of our story. When we identify with it, we become limited by it. We live in fear and victim consciousness. Life contracts further. The nightmare deepens. Our dreams die, and life generally sucks. So that escalated pretty quickly, but the reality of it is that process actually happens often over years. All right, after years. So this is where proactivity again is so important, because before you know it, it's in a space whereby you know what, this is a lot more difficult than it to treat and fix than it was 10, 15 years ago. So yeah, good to address it when you can. Versus empowered dreamweaving. So this is listening to the pain, learning from it, appreciating that pain is our teacher. We make the changes that are being asked of us. We heal, we reclaim the energy, we potentially transform that into a purpose, create our dreams. And when we live by our dreams, we live motivated and full of love and energy. We enjoy the gold gathered through the alchemy of the journey of pain, drawing with us the lessons. The pain is no longer there, but the lessons are with us, and that can't be taken away from us. And ultimately, life is lived more fully. So yeah, to round off, pain gets our attention, invites awareness. Awareness creates choice. Choice creates change. Change creates healing. Healing restores energy. Energy fuels purpose. Purpose gives life meaning. And every nightmare potentially contains a dream seed. It's our choice as to whether to water that or not. And the dream gives us greater engagement, growth, access to life, and living fully, in other words, love in our life, which is the ultimate telos of the dream. Okay, every nightmare contains the seed of transformation. Do we run from the pain or cultivate the seed? Okay, I'll go very quickly through this wrap up because I know we're over time. My apologies for that, guys. It's something I need to work on with these presentations for sure. Okay, so I'm going to be sending you through a bonus presentation. It's 10 steps to overcoming pain. And this dives a lot more, it's 10 steps, it dives a lot more into the nuts and bolts of things. So Dan, for you, this is going to be really useful, I think possibly for all of you. So it elaborates more on these concepts, but gives you helpful things and specific instruction on certain things like breathing technique and exercise and whatnot. Then, so this is something that I do. I'm a pain therapist. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I absolutely love it. I know Dan was talking about you coming and see me. So if anyone is feeling that they want to look at their pain and address their pain and get it properly assessed and dialed in and yeah, get some relief, then I can absolutely help you if you're in the Costa Rica area. So if so, yeah, feel free to get in touch. Then, yeah, these are some typical results from the treatment. So this guy came, he was going to get an elbow operation. He really didn't want it. Within 3 sessions, we got it to a place whereby he didn't need an elbow operation anymore. And yeah, it was due to that shoulder. His shoulder's fully out there, and this was creating a chain reaction down his arm, creating problems in the elbow. But you can see he's a lot straighter there. Um, this guy, you can see a noticeable difference in his spinal curvature and forward head position after a few sessions. This guy's great. This is a recent one in Costa Rica. Man, this was one session. Looks like he's been pumping in the gym. And like the wild thing here was his face. Like this whole structure of his face completely changed. Remember that like fascia is a morph suit that goes everywhere. So I often see that by working the body, things in the face can change. It's very interesting. But yeah, again, elbow problem gone. This woman, she's a bit younger than a woman, but she's a teenager. So scoliosis, which is a bending from left to right of the spine. So 5 sessions, we pretty much unwound it. There's just a slight scoliosis there, but yeah, we basically fixed it. And then this guy as well. This is interesting. You can see his whole balance sensor has shifted back to neutral. And there's been like a tightening of the tissue, so you can see the core activation here and just the general activation. Interestingly, he was actually 2 kilos heavier in the right picture because he didn't follow his nutrition stuff, but he looks like he's lost like 10 kilos. Cool. Then second to last thing, Dreamweaver. This is the project I'm creating at the moment, and I'm looking to speak to as many people about dreamweaving and their take on dreamweaving, where they're at with their dreams, as well as any challenges they're facing. And yeah, it's going to help me to really build out this system and this movement, because this is designed to help as many people create their dreams as possible. So if you fancy jumping on a call with me for some time for me to ask you some questions, and I would then take you through a coaching process to guinea pig some of the new coaching methods that I've been developing for Dreamweaver. So if you're up for that, then please do let me know. I'll send through some information. I'll be really grateful for that. And yeah, we can also talk about your dream within that. Then there's a WhatsApp group, which is the Dreamweave Tribe, which is a nurturing community space for connection, healing, and dreamweaving. So I'll send you the link for that tomorrow if you'd like to join. And finally, yeah, there's going to be a campfire roughly around the time of each full moon. So next month is going to be the Engineer's Guide to Spirituality, a metaphysical blueprint bridging science and spirit for health, healing, and understanding this weird and wonderful world from a former atheist engineer. And then finally, right, this is a plug for my friend. This is a threshold portal that my friend has painted for me for Dreamweaver for this project. And this is a 120 centimeter square painting, which is just the craziest of geometries. Like, it's phenomenal. It changes color each time I look at it. I can see all these wild geometries in it. And he's created this, it's creative genius. It's created this business to help people with life transitions, so the thresholds in their life. So it's basically a piece of art held and handed over in ceremony to honor life transitions. So it might be the birth of a child, the death of a loved one. For me, Dreamweaver is like the new chapter of my life after a period of difficulty. Yeah, I can really recommend his work. This stuff is a spiritual technology. It's wild. So yeah, if you want a link to my friend, then let me know. My painting's still in the UK because it was too big to bring on the plane, which is agonizing. So I'm looking to get that shipped to Costa as soon as I can. So yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. Yeah, thank you so much. My apologies for going a little bit over time. But yeah, if you wanted to ask any questions, I'm happy to stay as long as there's questions and as long as you're happy to stay. So yeah, if you've got any questions, then please do fire away. Or I might have talked you all to death.
I don't have any questions. I'm going to pop off of here, but I just wanted to thank you for your time. It was a great presentation.
Oh, you're so welcome. So welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. And this is like the start of this community, like today. So, this is a very special moment for me personally. So I really want to thank you and express gratitude for being here for for this beginning. So and just before you go, my plan for these monthly webinars is for it to be more interactive. I was kind of like finding my feet with this one and more of a presentation, but I want it to be a lot more interactive as we go through this journey. So Kiri, it's so wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on. Lots of love, and have a lovely rest of your evening.
Well, thanks for having me. Nice to meet you all, and we'll see you next.
So welcome. Thank you. Bye. Anyone else got any cues?
Well, kind of a comment. A brother that I sit in fellowship with here locally has been talking a lot about how he dream journals. Like every day he's dream journaling, and just getting into talking about the dreams and how they can be this healer, and no matter what's in them, they're kind of pointing us in a direction. It just got me thinking, man, that like I bet so much of the shadow work that I'm looking into is probably in my dreams. And I often wake up like I have very vivid dreams often, and I remember probably 90% of them for a while. And then I'd forget, but I'm like, man, I bet a lot of keys are actually in those dreams. So I just need to start like dream journaling and really like dissecting that shit and seeing what's going on, Yeah, so that just really fires something up in me, man. So I'm gonna got a journal next to my bed. I'm gonna start writing in it.
Okay, fantastic. I'll share a couple of thoughts on that in a sec. Nadia, thank you so much for coming on. Have a lovely evening, and yeah, hopefully meet in the person at some point. And Dan, I'm probably not going to be able to do like another group call tomorrow, but if you wanted to maybe exchange some messages together, or if you've got any questions, I'd be really, really happy to to do that, or even jump on a call if you've got any questions. So dreams, man. Yeah, this is that's massive. Yeah, Dream Journal, great place to start. And also this Jungian Life, that podcast, that's going to give you a real strong, good understanding of how dreams are operating within us. Because the best part of the episodes is at the end where they dissect, listeners send in their dreams, and then the three psychotherapists just dissect the dreams. It's wild, man. It's so good. But yeah, dude, like the dreams are like messages from the innermost area of the psyche, and they're performing many functions. So, do you remember on the old Windows computers the defrag function? So that's one of the many functions of dreams. It's like a psychic defrag, as to process things, and it also can usher in and create psychological changes. So earlier this year, I was going through an immense psychological change, very positive, very good. And it was like a purging of a lot of shadow masculine energies, and a new deeper connection with my feminine energy. And bro, every night for like 20 nights, all of this shadow masculine stuff was coming up, like from domination to immature boys to drinking, and it was just and really bad stuff that I won't talk about as well, like violent stuff. And it's like my psyche was purging all of this stuff, whilst at the same time having these dreams of like being like this like super badass feminine figure, like just just chopping up all of these like bad guys that represented the shadow masculine stuff. And this is my inner feminine coming online and becoming stronger. So the dreams were reorientating my psyche in real time, and it was very perceptible what was happening. I'll share more about that when we chat, because this is a very interesting process. Dreams as well. Like I'm reading a book at the moment. I've just started it, called Precognitive Dreaming and the Long Self. So this is talking about dreams that predict the future, which is a massive thing that many people have experienced. Dreams showing us the way. Yeah, shadow investigation, 100%. Yeah, dreams are showing us things there. It's interesting because like each person's so unique, so the same symbols with different people are going to mean different things in different dreams. So like the water, for instance, is generally speaking emotion in some way, but you know, if someone nearly drowned when they was a kid, they're going to have a much different perception of water than someone who's a champion swimmer. Like for me, when I was a mechanical engineer, quite often in my dreams, all of the mechanical pipes and ducting and all of the stuff from the systems crop up in my dreams, and that's going to mean something very different to me as someone who worked with it for years than someone else. So we need to think quite laterally, and it's also another massive thing with the dreams that I find really helpful is that I assume that in some way the figures in the dreams are part of me, so they represent part of me. Even when the really bad shadow stuff comes up in the dreams, it's like, okay, that's me. I'll tell you one thing, like you know the butcher from Gangs of New York. Yeah, so he during this process of purging all his shadow masking stuff, he came to me in my dream. He had a brick lodged in his heart, like bust through his ribcage, all bloody, and he's got a curved knife and he's sharpening the knife whilst walking towards me menacingly. And I was just like, nah, I'm not even going to engage with this dude. And then, but that was a step forward because previous when figures like this came in my dreams, I was trying to fight them, but this time I was choosing not to engage, so that was a step forward. And then I went into dialogue with the butcher in my waking life, and I was just like, right, the butcher represents some domination, bloodthirsty, horrible side of my shadow psyche. So let's play with it. Let's have a talk with him. Let's dialogue and move into that place. And I ended up he didn't want to talk, and we ended up having this like really this dialogue. And I eventually I was like, right, you know, it's a side of me. So how would you feel if I learned Krav Maga and kind of exercise that kind of like whatever that is? And we agreed on that. So my friend's going to come for a few days. This is ages ago. I haven't actually honoured that promise to him. This is a few months ago. I still haven't learned Krav Maga, but next time I see my friend, it's happening. And then I ended up bringing Venus to him and started giving him a massage, which was gross because he's got all greasy hair, and ended up softening him. And then since that, man, that part of me is just completely softened and just dissolved and is integrated. So that's probably the most powerful example I've ever had of working with a dream and integrating the shadow through the dream. So you know, yeah, assuming that the people in the dream are a part of you can be really powerful. Sometimes it's not, because there's another aspect I'll talk with you elsewhere about this other aspect. There's a good reason I don't want to share it on here. So yeah.
What do you think about deja vu? Kind of an aside, but
Oh, bro, I don't know enough about it to give you a proper answer, to be honest, man.
it's so mind-blowing to me, man. I like because it happens, like it's a real phenomenon, but it's like,
Yeah,
is that, you know, have I seen this before? Like, have I seen it before in a dream? And now
yeah,
it's like playing and it's manifested through my, that has the dream happened, right? And then influenced my trajectory to where then I manifested it into this waking reality. You know what I mean? Like that's one
yeah,
aspect of it that I think about. Then there's like these ideas of like, you know, multiple universes or whatever, you know, the multiple
yeah,
universe theory or whatever. I don't, you know, but I'm just like, how correlative, you know, is it to dreaming? Because sometimes when the deja vu happens, like I'll sit and reflect on it and be like, man, I've really seen this before and I've been in this energy before. I've experienced this. I'm like
yeah,
thinking, was this a dream that was so vivid and now it's playing out in reality?
yeah.
Just a fun question. Nothing serious.
Yeah, it's wild. I can't give you a proper answer because I don't know enough about it. But yeah,
Right.
when I experience it, it feels like synchronicity on steroids. Like,
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
I love it because you can feel it coming on, and that 2 seconds before it happens,
Yeah.
and you know what's gonna happen. You're like, oh, it's happening!
This
Freaking
is
cool!
it.
Yeah. Oh, damn! I knew that was gonna happen. Like, it's like, as I love it. It's although I had a crazy one in a medicine journey once. Like, oh, this got me questioning the whole nature of time. Like, so we're sat in a ceremony with ayahuasca, and earlier in the night, the I perceived this story about a dragon. It's very very detailed. It was about a dragon on a lake. I can't remember everything about it, but I was like, I perceived this story. And later in the night, when the sun comes up, there's a guy starts talking, and he starts telling a story, and my mouth dropped open. I'm like, I knew every single word he was going to say, like
Wild.
2 sentences before he was going to say it, and I was just there like
Wild.
flabbergasted, just like what the hell is going on here? Like,
Yeah,
and
man.
I spoke to my friend, and he kind of like laughed. He's a bit more experienced with medicine at the time, and he's just like, well, yeah, you kind of see the nature of time
Telepathy.
isn't quite as linear as we think it is, and yeah,
Yeah, it's wild because it's also like, you know, we're spirit, right? And then we just manifest in this body, in this avatar, in this time.
mm,
But there's an impression of our like energy body that is so interconnected with everything else that there is a chance that we haven't even actually experienced that before, like
mm,
actually experienced it before. Or that it's happening somewhere else and we're able to channel it through our energy spirit, through our energy experience too, you know? So it's like there's so many interesting ideas about what those experiences could be, but then it's just like the same with telepathy, you know, and it's like what really is that, you know? It's like
yeah,
the fascia of the universe, right? Like communicating between people, or animals, people and animals even, you know, people and trees. I mean, I've legit had trees speak to me, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's just like I don't know, it's cool. So thinking about the dreams, which happen to us every single day, it's like, man, what a powerful tool to explore and really pull some deep healing out of.
mm, hmm, hmm,
Um, yeah, it's fascinating. I like, and that's one of the things I love about your mission and your medicine here, as
mm,
the dream weaving. Um, it's such a powerful medicine. It's such a powerful um, experience that we all have every day.
mm, hmm,
And so, and I know just, you know, anecdotally from people, just them tapping into it has just yielded some of the most profound results, you know, and how they can then manifest certain aspects, eliminate certain aspects of their shadows, or not eliminate, but integrate certain aspects of their shadows, empower certain aspects of their light bodies
mm,
into waking reality. And, you know, it's just like, all right, I gotta really, like, really tap more into my dreams. I'm like thoroughly inspired now to sit with them in the morning and meditate on them. I wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. and I'm like ready to go. You know what I mean? We've had these
yeah,
conversations before, but dude, I gotta sit with those dreams, man, because they're
yeah,
90% of the time for me, they're so vivid.
yeah,
And I'm like, wow, that was weird. And I'm just like, man,
yeah.
it was kind of weird, it's kind of haunting. It makes me feel a little eerie or like really lit up, you know. It's
Yeah.
like, man. It's wild. But
Cool.
I appreciate the inspiration for the dream as a healing medicine.
Mm,
And Jordan, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to talk too much, brother, but yeah, respect. It's good to meet you, man.
yeah, big love, bro. I will. I'll. Yeah. Let's talk, man. It'd be great to jump on a call. And yeah, thank you so much for coming, mate. Really appreciate it. And yeah, excited to get to know you a bit, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Jordan, real quick, where are you at?
Canada.
You're in Canada? Is that the sun?
Yes, it's the sun. It doesn't set till really late here.
Bro, I'm like, what? It's 11 o'clock here. I'm on Eastern Standard right now.
Okay, Dan. No worries. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. And yeah, let's be in touch when you're ready, mate. Thank you for coming to this. I really appreciate it, and look forward to meeting in the person, mate.
Yeah,
Cheers.
absolutely. You as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye, Jordan.
See you, brother.
I was chatting to Dan then, but yeah.
It's
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
yeah, dude. So, oh man, there's so much in there, and yeah, like I mean, Dreamweaver. This is the medicine that it feels like I've no, this is medicine I know I've been tasked with to develop. This wants to move through me, and has for a while, and this is now my mission, my vocation. Everything I'm putting myself into is cultivating this medicine, and there's so much to learn. It's so juicy as well, man.
No
There,
doubt.
and there will be a whole dream section. I want to get a lot more versed on dreams and dream interpretation. There's a couple of courses which are really good, but what I do know is that through going through this myself, when you start keeping a dream diary, it's almost as if psyche goes like, ah, you're listening now. All right, cool. Let's give you more, and
This one. This one.
it starts giving you more dreams, more elaborate dreams, more details for dreams, because it's like you're paying attention now.
Exactly.
You want to dive into this, and also whilst there's a bit of like obviously we've been speaking about this a lot on call with AI. The AI dream interpretation is very good, but
Interesting.
obviously it's a potential crutch that can take you away from your intuition. But at the same
Yeah.
time, bro, can be so freaking crazy and hard to work out that it's like,
No doubt. No doubt, dude. It's like, what do you, because they don't make sense. Like you'll be in these, I mean, they don't make sense in my like temporal, rational, reductionist mentality, right? But like, because you'll be in these scenes that just like, how am I walking through a waterfall? You know what I mean? But then there's like all these other elements that are transpiring as well. It's like I've seen myself in just the craziest of scenarios that in this realm are impossible,
yeah,
So like working that out in a way that I can understand and apply any of the lessons to it is
yeah,
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 it's got to be difficult. I mean, even if you think
yeah.
about it, like
It's, it's, it's,
one of the things that really pops into my head right now is just like thinking about some of the stories in the scriptures where people, in the Hebrew scriptures, where there would be these people that would interpret the dreams of like the kings and the emperors,
mm,
and just how important that was to where these people interpreting these dreams, um, it was so revered and valued to these most powerful people.
mm,
That then these people were like elevated into like high offices in the kingdoms and stuff, because they could dissect these really wild, don't really make any sense, but have deep implications,
mm,
um, experiences that these kings were having while they were sleeping. It's just like
mm.
wild, man. Yeah, it's crazy.